This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Today, Harry and Meghan are back in the headlines, this time with another publicity stunt, slithering into Jordan, yes, the Middle East, Jordan, under the thin guise of a humanitarian visit, conveniently timed amid royal family scandals and their endless quest for relevance. Because nothing screams authentic compassion like jetting in for a couple days to pose with the suffering, because that's how Harry and Meghan do. Privacy Tour 2026 spotlights Archewell's modest contributions and remind everyone they're still the real moral authorities here. I mean, isn't it coincidental that Prince William just came back from his Middle East tour on behalf of the UK? I mean, nothing says half in, half out, with Harry and Meghan falling in line and doing the same. And we'll get there on why I think this is all sanctioned and blessed by the UK government. So let's go ahead and get into what really went down. So the morning farce unfolded at the WHO offices in Amman, where they inserted themselves into a high-level roundtable with Dr. Tedros and the usual parade of UN suits, donors, and aid organizations. What did I tell everybody last year when USAID got cut off? Did I not tell everybody that Harry and Meghan were going to be going to alternate sources of funding like the UN, like the WHO, like other countries?
Thank you so much for all of your efforts. I look forward to continuing the conversation, especially with Dr. Tedros, about how when funding does come in that feels ring-fenced, to be able to liberate that.
And there it is, folks. Confirmation on everything I told you last year that this couple were planning on doing. Throughout Meghan's word salad, she's essentially saying, well, whenever funding comes in, how do we figure out how to ring fence it? In other words, get our hands on it and liberate it into our pockets. This is where Archewell Fugazi Philanthropies is going to get their fiscal sponsor. So clearly what's happening here is there is an alignment with the WHO, and I'm pretty sure Gates Foundation will also be a fiscal sponsor that will be using Archewell to carry out their evil deeds.
Tedros about how when funding does come in that feels ring-fenced, to be able to liberate that.
Despite the fiscal space, this fiscal burden, that caring for other people's populations from pretty much every side, like go all the way around that 360 circle.
So now, Harry and Meghan are in the healthcare business, focused on taking care of other populations. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the whole eugenics depopulation agenda. Before you know it, Harry and Meghan will be teamed up with the Gates Foundation in order to push vaccines again.
Testament in CDC, the pandemic preparedness and response, is also on the right track. Despite that though, there is also this what we call the silent pandemic, which is non-consistent financing, health financing. So we will have the bilateral to discuss the progress and also the challenges plus.
What's laughable is that they have these two idiots sitting up there pretending to grapple with Jordan's crushing refugee burden, like the afterthought status of mental health in crisis zones and how endless wars plus evaporating global funding, which was a dig at the United States, are choking healthcare systems. Well, not our fucking problem. Those healthcare systems should be up to date and pristine given all the money that the United States have given over decades. Let's not forget we have all of these oligarchs who are involved trying to do the right thing and be humanitarians but won't put their hand in their pocket because they know that the whole thing is a grift. So is it our fault that funding has been cut? No, it's your fault for being so greedy. So apparently Jordan, we're told, heroically shoulders an extraordinary load for refugees from every neighboring disaster while barely keeping its own people afloat. The group solemnly agreed mental health deserves top billing. Well, that's because it's something that is not tangible. Remember, I told you in a previous video that the reason why these two idiots focus on mental health is because you can't quantify it. There's no metrics to it, but people will give money. So Harry and Meghan can bill back for so-called services like, loving kindness senior care and charge back an exorbitant amount of money. And that's how the grift goes. I mean, it's really disgusting. And we know, as I've explained to everybody before, that the money right now is within migration. That's where governments are giving lots of money to help the flow of these migrants cross open borders. So obviously, Harry and Meghan are gung-ho to support refugees. So in this trip to Jordan, of course, Harry and Meghan in the afternoon did the obligatory photo op at Zatari refugee camp, the sprawling open-air prison for Syrians who've been warehoused there for over a decade. They toured the Questscope Youth Center because obviously Harry and Meghan can't stay away from the youth. You know how they like to prey on them, where art, music, photography, and sports are peddled as trauma band-aids. We have Syrian kids gamely explained how scribbling and strumming help them process horrors and cling to some shred of hope. Refugee mentors, survivors turned inspirational props for Harry and Meghan lead the sessions, converting personal devastation into feel-good leadership content to show the world. How perfectly staged for those cameras. But it's not convincing. Meghan doesn't give a damn. Like, how rude is this bitch? Clearly, the guy is talking to her. And what does she do? She just completely cuts him off by directing her attention to someone who she's saying hello to. Fuck off, Meghan.
So, right, the other room, here our activities are integrated with mental health exercises to help them express themselves and discover their feelings.
Like, this woman is such a hot mess. None of these people look impressed at all to meet Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex. Like, is she planning on adopting one of these people and bringing them back to Montecito? No. Is she planning on helping any of these people get out of their situation? No. You see, the thing that's disgusting about these two is they actually think that their presence is what everybody needs to feel better. I want to know, what's the purpose of these two being there? What are they offering? Absolutely nothing. But they are being treated as if they are official royals. Listen to how they were introduced at the World Health Organization.
With His Excellency Dr. Tedros, the head of the World Health Organization, having come from Geneva, but as well as my distinct pleasure to welcome Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, who've come to join us here in Jordan and to look at issues of healthcare here for refugees, for Palestinians.
Like, this is such a joke. What the heck do they know about healthcare? Neither of them are doctors. Neither of them are specialists. And of course, Meghan made sure that this woman introduced them by their royal titles. So, like, we're supposed to believe that these two are not half in, half out. The reason why I'm saying that they're representing the UK government is because of what they put on their website. Did you know The British Embassy was involved again, and they're spinning it as if the World Health Organization invited these two to Jordan. Come on. Why the British Embassy? Again, remember, the British Embassy was involved when Harry went to Angola, using the same excuse of going and joining an event that the British Embassy was putting on. In this case, it says here, at sunset, the Duke and Duchess joined World Health Organization officials and embassy staff at the British ambassador's residence for iftar. Like, they really want us to believe that Harry and Meghan are so desperate for this security back, but they can fly under the radar to the Middle East and pop up without anybody knowing. Now, somebody in the UK, if you know how to open up a FOIA about this embassy and ask about this event and ask about their involvement with this couple, I would say go for it and do it, because they're not telling us the truth.
And that group over there is doing the same? Or
They don't know. يعطيكم العافية. شكرا.
Nobody's buying this. Look at the people in the background. But the best is this next clip where Meghan looks petrified of this woman who's wearing this burqa.
Like cement or white wood. So they use it from scratch. They're molding, they use it, and they start to...
Megan's so out of her element here. I don't know why they continue to keep trying to push this so-called Diana 2.0. Meghan, you'll never be Diana. Yeah, just like William and Catherine, Meghan's got to make it look like she is this fun, sporty type girl and can get down with the people. And here she is trying to appear athletic, but looks absolutely stupid trying to kick this soccer ball. But then the emotional climax to this photo op, a visit to the specialty hospital to meet Palestinian children and families airlifted from Gaza, riddled with the predictable gunshot and blast wounds, and making sure that all of that was captured on camera.
However, she had severe degloving injuries to her legs. She said yes. Okay, so her plan was to amputate her right leg. However, they refused. After multiple attempts, dressings are being done under anesthesia because they are very painful. However, sometimes anesthesia was not available then. So this was very severe and traumatizing.
Archwell apparently had tossed in some cash at these medical evacuations, partnering with WHO and providers, because what better way to launder a brand and some cash than through child victims of war and maybe some under-the-table trafficking? Seeing it up close right now, it really does look so fake, and all of this is just for show to improve their brand and maybe take the heat off of the royal family, which I think that's what this is designed to do. Obviously, this is all my opinion, but if it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, then maybe it's a duck. Now, we know that everything that was filmed with Harry and Meghan was carefully curated to give up the optics and bring attention to Jordan's partners are supposedly modeling what happens when the world chooses to act together. Well, couldn't they have found two other celebrities to do this with and not these two idiots? Because it really does put a spotlight on the Epstein class. Yeah, I'm pretty sure King Charles was pleased to see Harry end this Jordan tour with iftar at the British ambassador's residence alongside the World Health Organization, because nothing says breaking the fast like diplomatic schmoozing with these two so-called exiled royals who might not necessarily be exiled. Like, there's something really fishy about this. Like, what do Harry and Meghan really offer aside from so-called soft diplomacy representing the royal family? Because who are they representing? They're not representing the United States. Like, what are they really offering here, aside from being connected to the British royal family?
Sherry said it actually nicely. I don't want to spoil that. The human behavior we need is kindness to each other and supporting each other, and this country does it better than many.
The hypocrisy is off the chain here. You know, here's Dr. Tedros talking about what we need here is kindness to each other when you bring to the table the two most evil human beings on the planet. I think the message gets lost in translation because Harry and Meghan have done nothing but cause division, chaos. They lied, they manipulated, and they weaponized the media to hurt others. So, like, this falls on deaf ears for me, unfortunately, because this is, apparently a good cause, but Harry and Meghan taint it. And I wouldn't touch anything that they do with a 10-foot pole. And the fact that they are aligned with the World Health Organization should tell you enough that these two are up to no good. And this is how, moving forward, they're going to be making their money. And I think with this whole situation with Andrew, it goes to show nobody is safe, not even the royals. So their best bet is trying to get this immunity from the UN. And I also said this as well. If Harry and Meghan don't get their security back, I can easily see Harry and Meghan trying for some type of ambassadorship or working for the UN and WHO because they want that immunity.
And despite that, we continue to receive some of the best treatments I've ever had in my career from this state as they endeavor every day to do the right thing for refugees, but for their own population. And that's the one thing I would like to also highlight. It's not just that they're hospitable to people who are fleeing conflict in their own home, is that despite this, and despite the pressure that creates on the healthcare system, Jordan continues.
So what do you think about this latest PR stunt? Obviously, this is being done on behalf of some government, which I'm assuming is the UK. Do you think Charles knows about this? I do. I think Charles is very much aware of what these two have been up to, not only just for this trip, but for all the other trips that we have seen and questioned. Do you think that this was being done as a publicity stunt to take the attention off of Andrew and the royal family? I do. I think a lot of what we're seeing with the media with these two is to take that pressure off the crown. And, many people still don't believe that these two have been involved in some shady things when it came to keeping Donald Trump out of office. But the reality is, with everything unfolding, people are clearly seeing that these globalists, the Epstein class, had every incentive to ensure that Donald Trump did not get back into office. And I'll say this to the very end, unless somebody else can prove it otherwise, that these two were on a mission here. And because that mission failed, they're struggling to figure out how they're going to get back. And this is what we're seeing unfold at this moment. Harry and Meghan being so-called global ambassadors for the UN and World Health Organization with the backing of the crown. Like, there's nothing that these two can do to turn things around. They lied. They broke the trust with the public, and so did the royal family. I can't tell you how much I despise what Harry and Meghan have done. There is no amount of PR that these two can do to sweep all of this under the rug, because that's exactly what they're trying to do at this moment. The same way that they were trying to rehabilitate Camilla is the same thing that we see happening here with trying to do the same for these two, to make us all forget that the last 5 years that they had put so many of us through torture and hell never happened. Now, I'm going to go ahead and leave you with this final thought. Now, could this show that they put on for us in Jordan be part of the theater in justifying giving Harry and Meghan security back? Could this have been to pull on the heartstrings of Shabana Mahmood, maybe doing Shabana Mahmood a favor by going over there and bringing awareness to the world about the refugee crisis that's going on in Jordan and why the UK needs to be tolerant of more people coming into the country? It could be a part of soft diplomacy and all of that kind of good stuff that the royals are asked to do on behalf of the UK government. I'm pretty sure that Keir Starmer would favor Harry and Meghan to take the throne over William and Catherine. You have two woke leftist Epstein-class parasites who support all the things that are destroying our society but making these people richer. So, of course, if the optics are to parlay to the left, then maybe that was the purpose of this trip. But that's just my 2 cents on that. What do you guys think? What do you think's going on here? Do you think we're being played? I do. I think that the royal family and Harry and Meghan have not been forthcoming all these years with this so-called saga. At the end of the day, it is undeniable that we were lied to. But you let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!
Such a fraud.